Greg Hasty, James Belhaven.
Here.
Don Williams.
Here. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have you looked at the minutes?
Yeah, I will move to approve the minutes.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Real quick, just, we're gonna have, if anybody wants to say anything, to either of these items on the agenda, we'll open that up. Does anybody have anything they wanna say? Okay. The first thing on the agenda is the branches for the lake support letter. They are pursuing a local tourism asset development grant from the Missouri Department of Economic Development. Great cause. They're really working extensively with the Magic Dragon trails, and we're getting a lot of these lately, so you will be seeing some more in the future to pursue an economic development grant. So, anything you want to say about that?
No, I think it's a good cause and I would like to see it go forward.
I'd entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the letter supporting this grant for branches of the lake.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Yeah, we need to sign this. Okay, next item on the agenda is Virgie. If you guys would like to introduce yourself for the members of the public that don't know who you are. Jason.
Yeah, so, yeah, so I'm Jason Brushwood. I'm the Regional Operations Manager for Verigy over the state of Missouri. And I oversee the implementation of all the projects that we do across the state and for Verigy. And to my right here is Jason Trickey, and he is the project manager of the project here. On this, and to the back is Ryan Becker. He's the senior project manager with us who is overseeing the project as well. And then we have Josiah. And Josiah is our site superintendent, and that is here working on this project. And so, first off, I wanted to come here this morning just to give an update of where we kind of sit on the project, and also to kind of clear up some confusion as far as like lines of communication, where those need to be so that we can continue to move forward and progress as efficiently as possible on this project. When we started off this project, we were it was indicated to us that the points of communication, it started off that we were to run our communication through the maintenance department headed up by Mel Miller. And then from that standpoint, I believe Brian Wiley is the gentleman's name, came in, and so we were in communication with Brian as well, and so we were communicating strictly through them. Through that communication, it's come to our understanding that Brian is no longer working for the county, and so we're just here to kind of determine, is that still the point of contact for the project, or who is the designated representative that we need to be filtering our communication?
So just to be crystal clear, in case you guys were not aware, anytime any money or public funds are transferred throughout the county to Verigy or anybody really, that would constitute a public meeting. So it would definitely be something that Verigy would have to sign off, get a commissioner sign off for.
Okay.
So the purpose of Brian and Mel is, me and Donnie have 100 different levers we got to turn a day to keep the county running. So essentially, they were a liaison to report to us on specifically projects, not change orders or any money or anything like that. It was the progress of the project. So that's kind of the why behind we had Mel and Brian. Mel's running around doing all kinds of stuff, but if Brian was available, then he would kind of fill in for that and then report back to us. Both of them would. So, going forward, I think we need to probably make a decision on me and you stepping into that role now that we've kind of got the budget out of the way.
Right, yeah, I think it needs to be us.
Yeah. So, I'd make a motion that Don Williams does.
Thanks, James. Yeah, I think it definitely should be us. Like I said, we kind of needed a point man before who was responsible with the budget. We've got more time available now to kind of keep an eye on it. Do you want to put that in the form of a motion?
I did make a
Yeah.
motion.
I'm not gonna second if it's me.
Well, my reason was because, we had the insurance. I'm kind of going through all that line by line and trying to review all that. So I thought maybe you would, or we can break it up, annex, courthouse, whatever you want.
I'll be the point of contact. I'll do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
The decisions have to be both of you anyway.
right.
Right.
If it's money,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. All right, I'll second that. As
All
polite
those
as
in
it is,
favor?
I think.
Aye.
Thank you, Don.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Point of contact, Don Williams. Sorry, buddy.
Been nice knowing you guys.
No, you're good.
No, I appreciate that clarification. And so, obviously, moving at the clip and due to some of that communication lapses, there was some work that we went ahead and executed that we had signed proposals for. And so we would like to share, will you pass out that? And I'll go through each one of these. And so some of these were, and here's the proposals in which we got sign off for that. And I'll go through each one of these and what they entail. So the first proposal was for the amount of $5,810, and that was to cut throughs, 4 pass-throughs in office wall and extend wall to corner at Extension Building on August 2nd.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So with that being the case, that's a temporary housing facility. In order for them to move,
Right.
staff to move in there, there needed to be some additional work done to that temporary facility.
And they
To
weren't
have
able
that
to
done.
perform the work, so we jumped in and performed.
Yeah. The second proposal in the amount of $10,300 has to do with installation and materials to replace the existing unit at the extension building. The existing HVAC unit was not working, and so to have other county staff members housed in a temporary facility.
Right, they needed heating
They-
and
they-
cooling.
Yeah.
Well, it was cooling at that time, it was August.
Yeah, so it's 10,300.
We made an attempt to repair it, and it lasted a month. So then the unit had to be replaced.
And you guys took a unit from here and put it over there.
It was brand new.
It's brand new.
Yeah. It was the existing unit.
The extension where Teresa and Marty are.
Former extension building.
And then the third one, I'll let Jason Tricky speak more as far as this goes, but it's for the amount of $26,500, and this is to replace the existing sewer line to main at the annex. One of those sewer lines. There's 2 sewer lines there now. One that we installed, and then there's a second one that feeds the rest of the facility. And the second one, and it required cutting, excavation, and backfill, and then includes city plumbing permit and new tap. And that was in the amount of $26,500.
And that's the existing sewer line that's coming out of P&Z. That's where it was located, and then ran to the street and tapped in. And there was a root rod right at the main, and the city had to come and water jet it out. And plus, we're doing more construction of that area further along in the construction with new parking lot, concrete, retaining wall, and all that. So this would be the time to replace it, and it was collapsed. It was a clay pipe. There was, I think, PVC into clay pipe, and there was different other areas of the pipe that we repaired.
Do you know how many feet?
I don't know.
Off the top of your head? Yeah, and we can get that lineal footage, probably to them and let them see the amount of feet with
So-
regards to that. So all three of these are changes that based off of what we understood to be the chain of command and all that, we were under the assumption that we were communicating with county officials, or county staff, and that they were communicating to the appropriate parties.
Mel had talked to me about that, for sure.
Okay.
And this is just, me and Donnie had originally talked about duties and responsibilities. He was gonna keep an eye on the courthouse, I was gonna keep an eye on the annex. We just got busy budget season and neither one of us, when it really started going, neither one of us. So I had actually sent Ellie a email, November 4th, 2022, asking for her for a basic breakdown of the annex exterior and interior. And the exterior was for $660,710. The interior was $845,247, with $1,505,000 committed to this building. And so when Mel had brought this up to me, I had referred to this email, and new sewer line was in there. Rebuild front entrance, provide new signage, and this is on the exterior. So I assumed that this $26,000, $26,500 was in that scope of work. And Mel was asking me, and I thought he was asking me, like, should we start on this now?
Oh, I
So-
see. Where the confusion.
Right, so
Yeah.
the main point of emphasis for me was, well, that's what I was told, so why would I have a change order in front of me for 26,000? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's in this email from, I would assume Ellie, is she here today?
No, she is not.
Okay,
She
but-
she had another commitment, I think.
So I would assume that would probably hold a little more true, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
So the design for the plumbing, when we designed with all the new bathrooms, your second floor bathroom, and then the two bathrooms in the basement, they were gonna have their own separate sewer line going to the street. That was what the original scope indicated was that portion, and that, we already completed that. And then that's when we turned into finding the root wad at the main, and then it goes out to the street. They were just gonna tie into where your existing went and then ties into the street. Well, we found that root wad right there. So then it had to be, the city came out, inspected, the maintenance department inspected, and then that's when we saw the collapsed pipe in the run, and then we found the root wad at the tap. So it needed to be replaced to get that flowing again.
So you have a signed change order for it?
We have a signed proposal, yeah, but not a fully executed change order that comes from our office directly. Typically, what we do is we'll come forward with a proposal that gets, hey, go ahead, a written document, hey, this is approval to go ahead and proceed. And then our accounting staff and department, they'll send in an official change order that lists the contract value, everything, and the changes from that standpoint. So we do not have, on each one of those, we do not have any fully executed CO for those, and so what we're here is requesting is that from the county. It is work that has already been done, and I understand like there was lapses of communication, and we understand that, and I think moving forward, having this clarity is gonna be positive for you guys as well as for us, and and so like we don't run into any of these types of issues as we proceed.
Yeah, because certainly no one can authorize the expenditures of any funds but the commission. That, right? It's the only one that can authorize expenditures of funds is the commission, so that's something that's done.
So, let me ask you this, who wrote this scope of work? Who was the?
It was our development
So
staff.
your development staff wrote it, and the problem with it, in my opinion, and Donnie chime in, or Charlie or Jeff, is it's very vague. It's very vague, like it never says, hey, if there's a root ball, we're not gonna do, plumbing work out there.
Yeah, so according to our contract, and I can pull up the article, we do have, and according to the fully executed contract, there is something in there for unknown conditions, something that cannot be reasonably found. Like for example, if you come across a wall and you open up a wall and there's something that is hazardous material or something you come across, or if it's not reasonably can be found, we have it stipulated in our contract for unknown conditions that would be brought to the county, and then the county could let us know how you guys want to proceed.
Don't you, when you,
You know what your cushion's for?
that's what I was gonna say.
Not for unforeseen.
What's it for then?
So if you're speaking to like particular allowances or anything along those natures, typically what those are for, that's like, for example, if we say, hey, we're going to install 30 rooftop units at a facility. And like, let's say we install only, or it comes back and there's actually 35 rooftop units on that facility, and we're saying, according to the scope of work, hey, we're replacing all your rooftop units on that facility. From that standpoint, in a traditional sense, you would be, in a typical project sense, you would be therefore from like an architect or something like that, even though they miscounted, you would still be responsible to pay for that. But what we've
I'm sorry,
committed.
that doesn't make any sense. You're saying that the cushion is there in case somebody miscounts?
Well, I'm just using that as an example, but we are not responsible for like unforeseens according to the contract that was.
Do the plans
That
you're
was-
working off of have the linear footage that's identified in the scope of the contract? There's no footage, there's no measurements in the scope of the contract. The plans that you're actually working from your development group contain those?
Let's stay on track with this before those questions. Let's figure this out. But the unforeseens, we also took care of all the abatement flooring that was underneath carpet that wasn't identified at our first development. So that was another unforeseen that we took care of.
I mean, right here it says remove all identified asbestos material.
And remove
Correct. We
abate
did.
floors in all labeled rooms to bare concrete.
Yes, we did. And that's what we
Well, it's an unforeseen, but that was part of
That's
the
part of the
contract.
scope.
correct.
Right, and well, if you look at it, like for example, in our contracts, I think. Here, hold on, let me see if I can go to it. Bear with me. Okay, so I would just recommend, like you look at Article 7.3.
Yep.
Claims for concealed and unknown conditions of that article within the contract. And again, this was a contract that all parties were privy to, and all parties agreed upon, and so.
Well, I think the vagueness of it is a matter of debate, really.
Yeah, we're not questioning whether everyone agreed to it, we're questioning the interpretation.
Yeah, if it says to bare concrete, I mean, that's whatever's under there goes
Okay,
bare concrete.
okay.
We did that.
Okay,
I'm just
okay.
saying.
Yeah.
So what we are seeking what we are thinking is, like, these were things that we did not come up with on our own. These were things that were brought to our attention, that were requested by county staff for us to investigate and look at. And that's what that is with regards to.
All right, let's,
And you thought the person you were talking to had authority.
Yes, that is correct.
that's the big thing. While he's looking at that, so we would like to establish weekly status reports with you guys. Tuesday morning, or Tuesday or Thursday morning meetings every week.
Okay.
10 o'clock. It doesn't matter, you guys can pick the day, Tuesday or Thursday.
Understand?
The invoices, we would like to know, so, correct me if I'm wrong, Donnie, but we have not signed off on any change orders, so our completion date should still hold true. That's our position.
Right.
And we would like, we kind of had this meeting already, but for redundancy's sake, we'll go over it real quick. Annex exterior, what percentage would you say that is complete?
Okay.
Well, we have, yeah, so would you like to pass out?
Yeah.
with the-
If you wanna-
And we can go through that, based off of the current contract. I know that there's another item that we need to discuss that could also impact schedule.
Do you want to talk about that first?
I don't know how you feel. I'm not interested in signing or changing the contract or the scope in any way.
Okay.
No, we're quite a long ways from that.
Okay. Well, if that's not, I mean, you don't want to talk about the topic at all?
Well, we have a lot of stuff to cover before we get to that point, I guess.
We'll wait till the end, I guess, but we're
Okay.
just gonna go through each one of these line items and,
Well, I'm gonna pass this out. This is what
Okay.
I presented for October. And this was their percentage, project percentage completion for October. And then I have the project percentage completion for November. And this was submitted we discussed during invoicing. So I broke this out into 4 phases. Phase 1 is the annex building, and that's the interior portion of it. In October, we were 75% complete. My estimated completion was mid-December. Phase 2 was the courthouse and justice center. That would be the interior portion of it. My total completion in October was 50%. My estimated completion of that project was in November. Phase 3 was the exterior courthouse and justice center.
so hold on, courthouse interior, end of November. What's the expected completion date now? That we're in-
January,
That we're in December.
yes.
So expected completion date for the interior of the courthouse is January?
Yes.
Into January.
End
Yeah.
of January.
Yeah.
And we're good to that on the next page. Exterior of the courthouse, middle of December. We had about 5% complete at that time.
And you're, in what month are you on? Just
Still October.
Okay.
At the end, it's the end of October when I do these at the invoice. Phase 4 was the civil package. We had 0 complete, but our estimated time was end of November, or December, sorry. And then on November's Phase 1, my total completion for the annex building is 90%, mid-December. Phase 2, interior of the courthouse and justice center, end of January was the estimated date. November, the project percentage was 70%. Phase 3 of the exterior of the
Notes on there.
courthouse and justice center, 75%. Estimated completion of that is middle of December. Phase 4, the civil package, estimated completion at the end of December, and I have 20% completed as of end of November.
The other day during our tour, you mentioned phase 3 a couple of different times. Is this the phase 3 you were talking about?
Yes. And as of today, tuck pointing is all complete. We are further along with the civil package on the back side of the courthouse. They're going to be pouring concrete probably tomorrow for the handicap ramp, and the retaining wall block just showed up.
And I would like to speak to just a little bit on some of the delays here. I understand the commissioner's position with regards to the delays in the schedule. I will say that when we're being asked by apparent representatives of the commission to be integral involved in the project, and then they're asking us to look at additional scope items. One of those which was the domestic water throughout the entire interior of the courthouse and the entire sanitary sewer system throughout the entire courthouse.
Not the entire.
Or well, not
In the old portion.
yes, I'm sorry, thanks for that correction. In the old section of the facility. That kind of put a pause on some of the work that we could accomplish. Now, we understand that due to some of the communication issues, Verigy is, we value the relationships that we build with our customers and our clients, and we want to be team players and try to make this as easy as a process as possible. And we understand that with any delays, we incur costs associated with that. But I was able to, talk with our superiors and everything like that, and we're prepared to offer the county $10,000, a do not exceed amount of 10 grand, to pay for an extra month's worth of rent for your elected or for the other officials. So we're willing to do that. We understand, there's additional rent that probably has to be paid with the amount in the delays. And I do want to be clear that we don't believe like these delays or all of these delays are due to our performance. I think some of it has to do with the chain of command and some of those issues that we talked about before. But we understand the predicament and the difficult nature of having so many people in temp offices, and that there's costs associated with that.
Well, I just want to, for the record, read some of these. Take that for what you want, but this is in the scope of work. Remove all necessary plumbing supply and DWV as necessary to prepare for new proposed layout if applicable. In the renovation section, add plumbing infrastructure if applicable. I mean, that's, like I said, that is very vague on your end, and you guys wrote this. Demolition, which this part confused me whenever I first read it. Maybe you could expand on it. Demo of old fixtures, cap old plumbing penetrating floor or wall. New sanitary sewer plumbing for accommodations of new plumbing plan. So that's under the demolition section. So you're demoing out the bathroom.
Correct. So what that's in reference to, and if you go, you'll see there's a subsection heading. I don't have it in front of me like you do, but there's a subsection section that says like first and third floor restrooms, and from that, what we clearly indicate that we're tying existing piping, or we're replacing the piping within those restrooms, and that part is part of the original contract. So you are correct with regards to that, and specifically it says that we're tying back in to a solid connection point within the existing facility.
Where does
So
it say that?
Sewer main. Outside sewer piping to existing sewer main with new tap.
again, it's under the first and third floor.
It says right here, restrooms, first and third floor plans. Per plans, we don't have a copy of those plans, do we?
I do.
We can.
Yeah, we need a copy of those.
Yeah, understandable.
So, let me ask you this, so we just went over a few. What specific percentage would you say you're completed on the restrooms, first and third floor?
We have the demo complete, the third floor, they core drilled, and they had the rough ends ready to go. We will be ready for rough ends at the end of this week.
Okay,
And then they could tie into the existing, or they could tie into a new piping that we're proposing. New PVC rather than cast iron.
And that's part of the last 30% of the work?
let's just keep going. So new interior domestic water piping to accommodate new plumbing fixtures. What percentage would you say we are on that? And this is under bathrooms, not.
Yes. That, like I said, that's the rough ends part. That's where they've demoed, and then they have the new connections ready to go.
So new in domestic, could you explain to Donnie, domestic water is like,
Yeah, that's
Clean
your
water,
typical,
right?
yeah, your clean water coming in, that's your copper, PEX, what,
Fresh water.
yeah.
Right.
fresh water.
not great.
Right.
So, when we uncovered the basement floors, we saw it cut out, we have trenches basically, and that's where we found that the decaying of the cast iron
Yeah.
was severely decayed, and in the concrete floors. And then you have the pipe stacks going up to the third floor, bringing the sewage down.
And that is in the bathroom though, right?
That was already in your walls, your interior walls. And then, there's no hot water on the third floor, because it takes probably 20 minutes to get up there, because the hot water is on the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
So they were never getting hot water on the third floor. So we looked at all that with our contracting, with the maintenance department. And we have a plan of replacing some of those vertical stacks with PVC, and then having your domestic water repiped as well. Because there's a lot of branches, there's a lot of old stuff that's in the ceiling, and
That wasn't part of the.
that was not part of the original contract.
Right.
But, okay, so that bathroom on the bottom floor, that's the one I'm talking about,
Yes.
where that cast iron is.
Yes, it's in the concrete floor.
Yeah,
Right.
that's part of the
That was part of it, yes.
Yes, that was part of the original.
Okay,
So what we're talking about is
It's
like
further out.
There's also
right, it goes through the bathroom.
and then there's vertical stacks.
Yeah, and there's verticals,
Right.
there's 3 vertical stacks where we're gonna eliminate one of them, cap that off, and then have a new pathway for those other bathrooms, going down to the basement, and then going up to the,
I think some of the concern with that, do you remember what Mel had articulated about that? It was, if we shut it off in there, it shuts it off in the entire courthouse.
that's correct as
Right,
well.
that's what he was concerned about.
That's what we're gonna fix
He
that.
wanted a different shut off.
That
main.
plus, we will have a hot water circulation pump that would be circulating the hot water continuously through the building. And then we would do away with it's basically a residential 30-gallon hot water heater. So we would do away with that. And then,
Wait, that's what's,
yeah, that's what's put, yeah.
we want
So-
to cheap on that.
How much of this was part of the plan?
This is not.
This is not.
This is
So
outside our scope.
I want to be
Well-
very clear. Part of the first and third floor restrooms so the first and third floor plumbing is demo of old fixtures, scaffold penetrating, new sanitary sewer and plumbing accommodation of new plumbing plan, core drilling, new.
What do you consider to be the new sanitary sewer plumbing?
That was at the basement, that was going through the foundation wall.
Yeah. it goes
Okay,
through-
so all that piping going out, that's part of the scope.
That's part of the scope.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, that, we're not including that in this. We're talking about interior portions.
Basically,
of the
those
home.
vertical stacks that we saw in what they call a wet wall, is that it?
Yes.
Correct. So, all that to say is, in looking at, so essentially, there's a,
Sorry,
no, you guys are fine. So essentially, to have that new plumbing work done, and we can get the official, we don't have the official numbers with us today, that if you're wanting all that, for the entire, the old section of the building, completely vertical stacks, all that,
New backs.
the new lines ran, everything like that, you're looking at somewhere of a $200,000 increase to have that done. Now, with that being the case, there has been some like just discussions with Brian and Mel, like when Brian was still here, that one option would be is to deduct some items out of the current scope of work, such as like the bipolar ionization or the lining of
The sewer, the courthouse sewer, underneath Business 5.
Yeah, that was part of the project. That could be a one-for-one swap, and we can get you that if you guys need time to evaluate that. But the reality is the longer we wait, the longer it's gonna delay, because we cannot move forward. We're perfectly fine not proceeding with that and doing with what was originally contracted. We just wanna make sure that you guys are aware that if that is something that you guys are interested in performing, then we just need to know, yes, we are. And we can get you an official proposal sent over, so like you can actually look at the numbers and evaluate that. That won't be a problem.
Numbers like it with linear footage in them?
No, we don't, our,
It'll be a lump sum cost
Can I ask one more
associated with
question?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said, Jason Tricky, that the cast iron in the walls was decayed.
yes.
Is it leaking? How do you define decayed?
Well,
Educate us on cast
they-
iron pipe.
The maintenance crews cambered the pipes and saw that there was decays and different backups. Didn't they find the backups?
That's the
somewhere?
one going from the courthouse to the outside, the line that you guys,
Yeah,
No,
I'm not talking about
pipes
that. It's
in the
interior.
walls and.
Interior,
I didn't know that. We looked-
I don't know, but this was.
didn't you look at them?
I mean, you can
So-
see the head.
Yeah,
of
I
the-
mean, like over time, there's gonna be like natural decay, and like those, because it's the old section of the building, those pipes have been in there for a long time. So there's some natural decaying. Now, whether or not it's leaking in the walls or something like that, I don't think we can speak to that.
Well, it's all open right now, what you can see.
Yeah.
We don't have water going through it.
So the maintenance,
Yeah, we don't.
maintenance people, scope the pipe.
Yes,
So, do you happen to know if you made a recording of that scope?
I don't know.
I don't know, that would be if you,
I'm just,
Yeah.
it's part of their decision-making process, right?
Right.
They need to consider that risk. They don't have the information, they need to consider that risk.
yeah.
So let me see if I understand something. So to do away basically with the cast iron and put in the new type of plumbing, right?
Right.
You're talking that's gonna be about $200,000 additional from what basically was planned on, right?
Correct.
Yet we can't go underneath the Business 5 and line that remaining clay tile sewer, right?
Correct.
You can't do that.
No,
But,
because
but that is in the scope, so you kind of figured that in the cost too, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, maybe that's an even trade-off and no more extra money for the county.
that's
Well,
what
Good point.
Well, no, that's what we're talking about, is that we would deduct that out of
Those
our,
original scope
out of our original scope, along with the bipolar ionization.
Why along with the bipolar ionization? What
Because,
is it that much
because there's that much of a cost difference.
How much cost are you assessing to what he's talking
Like
about?
I said, we'll go and get you the exact figures,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it'd be good to know what you planned for that,
Yes,
because,
yes.
I mean,
And what we will do, and we'll do this all in writing so that you guys have it and you guys can discuss it among yourselves and make a decision, but we will make sure we're very clear about the total deducts. and what those amounts are, and then as well as with the cost for this new change. I will say that time is of the essence, obviously. I know everybody's eager to get back in as fast as possible. We're eager to get done as fast as possible. And obviously with delays on our end, it requires, longer manpower and stuff like that. So there's costs associated with what that Verigy is taking on here. And so again, I want to reiterate, we value this relationship. We want to see it positive moving forward. And,
we've got some core issues, I think, that we're gonna have to deal with sooner or later. And it's like Ike just made a very good point, but my problem is that as soon as we start talking about swapping, we're swapping one for one.
We're changing the contract.
Yeah, and what that boils down to is we're paying for it. We're paying extra for it. You know what I mean? If we're swapping out work that you say is not in the contract and we say it is, it essentially results in the same thing. The county's paying extra for what we think is part of the original scope of work. Like all the plumbing you talked about, the $200,000
yeah,
worth.
yeah.
My reading of the scope of work includes it. Your reading does not. And that kind of thing is our core issue here that we got to deal with.
Exactly.
Well,
And does the wash between the two include the risks / profit that was put in the original bid?
Right.
Well, let's talk about give us the why behind that being taken out of the scope of work, that sewer.
They're not allowed to go under, and there's a T there, right, or something?
There's a Y, after further investigation with the city, we figured there's a Y, they found out there's a Y at 30 feet.
Isn't that the city's responsibility anyway?
That would
ours
be,
in?
that's why we're talking about it, because then that takes on the city at that point. Now, originally, they thought it went to the manhole across the street by that little alleyway. And that's where our scope was saying that we had to line to. When we cambered it.
I mean, you can approach this one of two ways, and it's your guys' prerogative. You can either, use that as a swap out type thing to contribute towards the swap out, or if we were just to go ahead and
alleyway. And that's where our scope was saying that we had to line to. When we cambered it, we couldn't find that manhole. We never hit the manhole. So we pulled the camera back and we found a Y at 100 feet. So I had the city investigate further where these Ys were at and where they even ran to, because there was no water in those Ys. So I didn't know if they're abandoned or that then we could still line the sewer lines.
So essentially, that work does not need to be done. And so what we're saying is, you can approach this one of two ways, and it's your guys' prerogative. You can either, use that as a swap out type thing to contribute towards the swap out, or if we were just to go ahead and perform as laid out per the contract documents, we would issue you a deduct for the amount of that work.
Well, how much was it? We gotta know.
Well, and again, we're gonna provide you that information in writing so that you have it.
I think it should be wash. I don't know, but we'll see what the numbers are, I suppose.
Yeah, and what
I also don't think we should reduce any of the scope of the ionization or anything either. It just, I don't know.
Well, that was a topic from the start.
Yeah.
Cover's been
details
waiting,
in your
hold on,
proposal.
he's been waiting for
Yeah.
a while.
I just had two questions. One is, you guys said that there was a blimp in communication. How long was that? Lack of communication, was it months or?
I think it was just.
Well, it was, we thought that communication was being, throughout the whole time, because we would send weekly emails and updates to the maintenance director as well as Brian Wiley, and of where we stood on the project, and Jimmy. Yep.
When did this start? When did they stop communicating, I guess?
Well, it wasn't, like what we're saying is that the commission did not feel like they're fully communicated. We're not for sure.
Well, I'll tell you how it happened.
We were communicating to the parties that we thought were the point of contact.
So,
and then they take that communication.
When our first date to start construction, what was it? Somebody had COVID and it pushed it back? Right.
Well, we started.
Well, that was
it-
the pavement of this building, yeah.
Yeah, so.
But it was over in the courthouse too, right? That was
Yeah.
all the asbestos
So-
pavement.
When
No.
was the mobilization?
So we started when, in June
Bill?
We started-
July?
or July?
So for 7 months, there wasn't contact?
No, no, I'm not saying there was not contact. We have been communicating on a weekly basis with our point of contacts of this project.
But no one ever reached back out to you?
No, they would come back and they would communicate.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
sent a few emails that, they weren't responded to that quickly, but, you guys are just as busy as we are, I'm sure, so. Yeah, just to be crystal clear on that, any and all money that's being spent, this is taxpayer dollars. They would have to go to a public meeting, so.
Right.
Yeah, so they need to
Nobody
know
wants
who
to
told
know.
you otherwise. You'll need to write a letter
Well,
about that,
well,
Jason.
So how many months was
Who
that?
told you that they were
7?
and how that transpired at the beginning? Just to know.
You guys work with government entities all the
I was
time.
kind of
It was our understanding.
under the impression Jimmy,
What's the contact?
Even in the last public session, I believe it was said that Brian was overseeing the communication.
But Brian came on later.
Yeah, he came on, I can't remember how long it was, it was like a month.
I'm
Three
just
months.
saying,
or
just
something.
document your understanding of all
Right.
that, how it looked.
Understood.
I think we need that. I think your
Thank
first,
you.
I think your first invoice, Jason, was in August, was it not? So you started in July? Your mobilization billed on an invoice in August, end of August.
Yes,
We moved out August.
yeah, you guys, we did a kickoff meeting
Yeah.
on June 29th, and then we had a meeting with the elected officials on August 1st to establish the move. And then we moved the collector assessor on August 4th. The recorder, clerk, and payroll, August 19th. And then there was a delay for a week for wastewater, auditor, and AP.
Once again, you're forgetting the treasurer's office. We're always
Oh.
being left out of everything.
Yeah.
We moved the 19th of August.
Yes.
Who told you guys, from the county standpoint, who was gonna be our contact for you guys? How did you guys find out who's gonna be the contact?
That was our meeting in a public meeting that I was announced that Brian Willie was.
Brian started way later than the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Mel, it was Mel that
But who told you?
Prior to that, it seemed to be Jimmy.
The commission told you?
Yeah, when we had that first kickoff meeting, and I believe,
when did that engagement start? Just because that's a point of contention for me personally.
June 29th is when we had that kickoff meeting.
No, your first engagement about a remodel for the courthouse. When was the?
The first engagement, I'm not for sure, I'll have to get back to you. I mean, again, we oversee the implementation phase as far as the development
I'll get you.
and on the sales side, I'll have to get with them to see what that is.
Dan, you have a question?
Did Verity have communication with the county auditor about the remodel of his office before Verity received approval of the bid, of your bid? Because I've been hearing a lot of stuff that there was already plans made for his office and between Verity before there was even, the bid process was even.
Yeah, so as far as that communication goes and and all that, I want to refer because I'm not privy to all the context and information, so I will defer that to other members of our team.
Well, just,
Can you
here's what
carry
was,
back a request for just a chronological list of?
here's what we'll
the
do.
first contact?
Well, the next meeting we have, well, Jimmy's out of, I think he's got a personal thing to deal with, so we won't go in too deep on it, but we'll have Jimmy here to explain how this all started. I think that'd be healthy.
Yeah, but a chrono.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would like that
A
too.
list of the dates and when they happened. I can't
Yeah.
say that chrono word.
Chronological.
Yeah.
Thank you, from the people that first engaged.
Yeah, and what I would request is.
Because that will help
if-
explain how you got to where you were with Mel.
So what I would request on our part is like some of these questions, if you can provide those to us in written format, that way we can.
I think I did. I emailed you, Ellie, it might have not been you, but I definitely emailed Ellie about all the questions she had presented to me personally.
Okay, well, if you send those to me, I will make sure that we come up with answers to your
Okay.
questions. So if you please email me directly and with a list of your questions, and then we can adequately respond.
That's a good one. If it's okay with you, can we back up to the progress reports, right? The breakdown
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the different sections and whatnot. Will you, starting with October, make your invoices match that project, that progress report? The 9 categories on the invoice are impossible to reconcile with the progress report. So when the county gets an invoice, it's apples and oranges. Can you reformat your invoices to match the progress of interior, exterior, and then I think on the interior in the courthouse, I would do the floors, like 3rd floor, 2nd floor, 1st floor.
But
It's
we do
about
have-
customer.
we do have-
Hold on.
Hang on, Jason, it's about customer service,
Yeah, no,
right?
no.
We don't understand, and you had, you know, Brian got so in there, he was following along with you, but that didn't help anybody else.
Right.
Because that's why he's gone, well, I don't know that's why he's gone, but that was his point of frustration, is he was being asked to translate what you were putting on your invoice into something that matched the status reports, and he just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So it would be huge
Right.
customer satisfier to match that.
Yeah, let me see what we can do. There's some things internally as far as the accounting way that it gets set up in our system that kind of limits how we do some of this. But let me check into it. Let me see what we can do, and let's see what we can come up
It'd be
with.
huge, just
Yeah,
clarifying. I think
yeah.
you're doing fine.
But
Hold on.
we have the site work, I mean, that's clearly, we have finishes, that's clearly.
Yeah.
It's not.
And then we have paint.
Okay, but yeah, let's check into it.
Thank you.
I really only have probably one more question. So you guys are saying by the end of January on these?
Yes.
So if it goes past January, because we're already out of the agreed upon move back in date,
Right.
if it goes past January, would you agree to liquid damages? I mean, you're already vaguely agreeing to it with that 10K.
No, I will not, because not only,
Well, you're essentially agreeing to it with the, I mean, is that a gift? You're saying 10K for setting us outside?
no.
For the rent on the
No, I was
buildings?
very clear in what I said, is that we do not believe that the overall delays of this project is due to Verigy in no way, shape, or form. I said, because of our long-standing relationship with our customers and us, we are doing that because we understand that it does impact the officials here. And so we are offering that as a good faith gesture to help out with some of the cost impacts that would be incurred by the commission due to the delays, due to the communication and the scope, the additional scope items that we were requested to look at by the county.
So what if?
So you won't, so your expected end date is January, but you won't honor that in the form of liquid damages if you
No,
go
because,
past that?
well, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, is because we are.
That's not very confident, though. That
Well,
that
no,
makes it seem like you're gonna
no.
not be done by January, to me.
Yeah,
As, if-
hold on. The,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. The reason why is because originally the contract was not known that way. We have to notify our subs that there are that are liquidated damages in that, which means that affects their pricing to us. And so with regards to that, if that is not known ahead of time, like this is going to be a liquidated damage contract, we have to notify the appropriate parties to begin with, from that standpoint.
I mean, there was a recorded meeting and you guys said 6 to 8 weeks, no problem. And we're well past that. So you gotta understand our frustration on this end, that we feel like we're entering that territory. And yeah, that I do appreciate the extra 10,000 that you're gonna talk, give the county for the rent. I think that's honorable. But December 19th was our move-in date. Now you're saying end of January. Now I'm saying, why can't you agree to liquid damages if that is the end date in your mind? It's essentially a month and a half past. Why would you not agree to that?
Because it was not originally discussed that this would be a liquidated damage contract, and it is not feasible for us to go back to all of our trade partners and to have them escalate that, because it would be extra cost that they would charge us, and therefore we would have to pass that along.
How can you show skin in the game for the end of January completion? I mean, it's got a valid point, right? You've missed a delivery date, whatever the faults are, right? Not total yours, but what is your contingency plan for if you miss the end of January? I mean, that might be something to go think about.
Yeah.
That might be a technical.
No, let me think about that, but I can tell you that it's not going to be liquidated damages. Because it was not originally discussed at this project.
Well, covering the rent takes care of January,
Yeah.
right? But if we get into February,
If we get into February, then we'll look at the reason for the delay and the further delay. And if there is like for example, if you get in there and you uncover something that there was no way for us to practically know. And like, listen, we want to be fair about this. And so if there's no way that we could practically and understandably know, then of course we would sit down and have a discussion from that. And with the increased meetings, with the increased awareness that you will have throughout this process, I do think that it's going to expedite a lot of the communication gaps that have been taking place, because we're going straight and there's no middleman right there.
That'd be good.
I guess my question is, you're saying that the reason for the delay doesn't all fall on your guys' shoulders. It's not all your fault, correct?
Correct.
So what are the reasons for the delay then?
So the reasons for the delay was due to the additional scope items, like I mentioned before, as far as looking at.
What are the
Well, such as, like, for example, we were indicated that down there in the security area, like that security, the way that we had it designed may be changing. It may not be set up the exact same way. And so
Did that happen?
Huh?
Did that happen?
As far as.
Well, you're saying it may not be set up the same way and there might be changes, and I'm just asking,
Did the
that happen?
design change?
No, we have not changed the design currently, no. So it's based upon the original design, and so that's like another one of thing is like, we're gonna move forward with the original design unless we hear from you guys directly that you want it changed. And this is why it's important for us to have this new established communication, is because we were being told that this needs to be, that, hey, they're thinking about possibly changing up this area, and so we're like, oh my goodness, like, what do we do?
wouldn't you like to see documentation of those conversations as they unfolded from Verigy?
I would. I guess what I'm asking is, again, back to my original question is, you said that the fault for the delays is not Verigy.
Right.
So I said, okay, what are the reasons then?
Yeah.
And you said, well, there might have been changes here, and they may have been requested changes here, but I'm saying, were there actual requested changes? I mean, might or may not impact anything.
Well, what's hard for us is when our point of contact that is supposed to be representing the desires of the commission in our eyes is telling us, hey, there may be a change here, like let's wait until we get clarification.
Did that happen? Did they tell you to wait until we get clarification?
Yes,
Who?
Mel.
Mel told you there may be a design change to the security facility, hold tight for a minute, we'll get back with you?
Yes.
And they never got back with you?
We had discussions.
When about was that, do you remember?
Well, we had a discussion as late as last week.
Last week.
So from that standpoint.
I know there has been recently because of this conversation we're having right now.
Right.
Because we had a meeting a week or so about this, but I'm talking about previous to that because we got behind schedule way before just last week,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Yeah, and like, for example, you look at some of the other, like, for example, taking the time to investigate all your sanitary sewer throughout the old section of the building and the domestic water, all that kind of led to us slowing down our progress in what we're doing now. And listen, and again, I want to just reiterate, we are being fair about this, and we continually want to operate in a fair way with the county.
Could I ask you this,
Yeah.
on that sewer main that was included in the original scope of work, could we get a third party to investigate that and come up with a cost analysis since you guys don't have that?
Well, I mean, what you do is your purview. I mean,
Well, if we're talking about, that's obviously not gonna be done, right? So it's gonna come off.
correct.
So we're just saying, you guys are basically saying you're gonna come up with a cost analysis
Correct,
on the
correct.
cost of that work.
Correct.
And we're saying, how about you pay for a third party to do that? Or, you know, we can figure it out and then we present that to you.
Because their risk and profit is built into their lump sum that won't be refunded on a change order that matches a new bid.
It depends on how you proceed, and again, we can enter into further discussions on this. But it depends on how you proceed. If you're gonna say, okay, we are gonna want that 100% deducted, right? Then we would take out a portion of our overhead and profit and go ahead and give that back. So.
Cobra, go ahead, you've been waiting a long time.
Yeah, it's follow up to what I was saying. When you said in this meeting that $26,000 additional was being billed to the county for the sewer work, right? You said you had a jet blasted and stuff, I guess. At what point does that stop? Do you stop throwing money at stuff and say we just got to replace it? I mean, is there a point?
Well, we repaired it already.
That was replaced. There was a sewer line out here and it was clay and it's been replaced. That work's been done.
Was that I mean, I guess the way it was being explained was you had to spend extra money to investigate that, right? The city was involved, and that was the extra 26,000.
Well, the work done, excavating, and then removing the line and then the new tap.
But that wasn't in the scope of work.
No.
Well, that's where I'm saying.
That's questionable.
That's what I'm asking you is where does that stop? Where does it, if you
I
need
mean,
to
new sewer line, annex exterior, a sewer line to me is exactly what you guys replaced.
And we did that. We did the new one for the new bathrooms in the basement and your second floor. And
That's interior to me, not exterior.
But you can see it coming out of the front door of the wastewater, and it angles out.
Like I said, it's vague.
So, well, I understand that.
Happens when you don't have linear footage.
Then there's
you don't have
P&Z.
Yeah, so when Mel is coming to me and I'm looking at this and I'm like,
P&Z.
yeah, that's on there.
My point is $10,000 doesn't seem
Yeah,
like anything
right.
when you're spending 26,000 here and there. Like 10,000 is a joke to me.
Well, in my mind, Sean, we haven't spent 26,000. We didn't sign any change order, we didn't conduct any business.
Should have been in the scope of work.
Yeah, but that's not these guys' fault. You got a middleman anyway.
United States got close.
Oh,
I just
couldn't see
want
it.
to comment that this meeting is completely ridiculous without Jimmy Laughlin and Melvin Miller here. I mean, they're offering conjecture. I guess it just seems pointless if the two decision makers who are still in this county are not in this room. There's just so much conjecture going on. Why are they not here? I mean, they need to be here. So as we sit here, it's just so frustrating because I hear you guys passing the buck to them and they chose not to show.
Well, I can speak a little bit of that.
Please.
I talked to one of the maintenance men, and Ike was there. They had a which happens often, but somebody flooded the jail.
Backed up sewer.
Backed up sewer, and that's kind of an all, as far as Jimmy, he's got a personal issue,
He's not even
according to the email we received from him.
He's got a medical emergency with a family member.
There needs to be a meeting with these guys in the room, and Jimmy Laughlin needs to answer, and so does Melvin Miller. Because there's so much conjecture going on, you're not getting straight answers, and there have been decision makers that haven't been you, but it's just very frustrating as a taxpayer and a citizen, and I'm sure for you as well. I mean, for Verigy, I'm sure you're frustrated.
Yes.
We have decision makers in this county that are elected, that have been making decisions, and they're not in this room. So I just think that this meeting is pointless until Jimmy Laughlin has a seat at this table and he explains all the decisions he's made on behalf of our county
Well,
when it comes to the money.
I agree
Right.
completely, I mean,
But the benefit is to get the right decision
I
makers
totally
aligned
agree.
going forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that, this is accomplishing that. You're completely right, but this
He
is
needs to answer.
accomplishment. He does, absolutely, but this is accomplishing the fix
Yeah.
for going
Yeah,
forward.
because that's the main thing is getting, we gotta get people back in that building, and we gotta get the public back to be able to conduct business with the county.
Yeah.
And in the end, that's the main goal without us taking a big hit anywhere. Period. So,
I have a question for you guys. So how many old courthouses have you worked on?
Oh, well, off the top of my head, quite a lot.
So finding abnormal sewage problems or water pipes,
It's a.
was that in your mind whenever this contract was brought up? I mean, did you allow extra time, extra money to, because you know you're gonna find X amount on every job site you go to?
No, because you
I
can't.
mean, did you figure extra time, extra money into
can't-
those?
You can't.
You know you're gonna have those issues.
Yeah,
wherever
no,
go.
you can't approach it that way, and the reason is because every courthouse is different.
It's just
You
about
guys
100 years old. You
but-
also
but-
you also
but,
work
yeah.
on other courthouses that's over
Yeah.
100 years old.
Yeah.
It would have a lot of similarities.
and maybe not y'all, but somebody walked through that building with the plans.
With the plans.
Well, with the plans of the courthouse
Yeah,
and how the courthouse was built and laid out and all that. Somebody
Yeah.
walked through that building prior to the scope, right?
Yeah.
Creating the scope?
Yeah.
So-
So we have a development staff and team.
And they pretty much knew what was kind of going on in that 100-year-old building.
Well, no, we did, and these are the items that we were addressing, and so therefore, that's what we did. But as far as like some of the other stuff, there's no way to do that.
Other than the experience of you guys having done this kind of stuff.
Well, I understand that, but there's no way for, I mean, at what point?
You can't tell how bad it's gonna be, I get that.
Yeah.
But
Until we start opening floors.
I get some of that, I get some of that, I get some of that. You can't tell how bad it's going to be. But I also figure that, being your expertise, you put that in there somewhere a little bit.
Well, let me.
You're a pre-OSHA courthouse, right?
Pre everything.
Almost pre-federal government, but not quite that bad, but.
And so, my understanding as we move forward here is that we will provide you with the documentation and the cost for those, for the redoing the plumbing of the old section that was not part of the original contract. And then as well as some options for you as far as potential deducts of original scope to help pay for those. And we will present that to you in written form so you guys can make your evaluations. And then any other questions, feel free to please send those to me directly with your request, and then we will look at getting the appropriate parties involved to get you the answers.
Okay,
Jason, can I ask you a question? Just a simple question.
Yeah.
How soon can you get that proposal over?
I want to do it today.
Today or tomorrow,
Okay.
probably.
Cool with that.
Because we need to move on.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
If we're not gonna do this, we need to move on to the original.
Yeah, and if we're gonna stay with the original, like, listen, I'm in favor of moving on with, according to the original plan, and let's get it done. But again, this is, I wanna give you guys, because this is something that was brought to our attention from the maintenance staff that for us to look at. So.
all I know. With this stuff.
I don't know how you feel, Donnie, but I really am not interested in changing the scope of work until,
I'm right here, we got 4 issues here that we still, have not really drug out in the light and dealt with, and it all comes down to the scope of work.
So I guess-
Our understanding of the scope of work is not the same as your guys, that's at the heart of the problem.
Yeah, and maybe what I need to do is I need to set up a meeting with our development team and
Yeah.
and have them present to where they can walk you through, and we have a review of the scope, and then that way we can have any questions that you may have answered.
I mean, like for me, for example, when it comes to the plumbing in the other building, under restrooms, 1st and 3rd floor, you guys say new sanitary sewer plumbing for accommodation of new plumbing plan. Now, to me, if it doesn't mean what the plain meaning of the language is, then what can it possibly mean?
Well, and then, but then it also says connections for water and sewer be made at existing piping, allowing for solid connection in municipal building.
Yeah, but that doesn't abrogate what it said just a few lines above.
No, but what it's doing is it's further explanation of the work that is taking place, that we are making connections inside the facility.
And that's the
When can
exterior,
you
that,
send copies
that's
of the
referring to
plans?
the
When you
exterior
send-
part.
send the plans?
Yeah. I can
That would
get
help
with
when
Jason
they
and we can get those
Get a
over
copy
to
of
you.
those plans that they're actually
Yeah.
working off of,
Yeah.
and then you can put the two together, see where your gaps are.
Yeah.
See, and I don't accept that's further explanation, because between the line I mentioned and the line you just read, you have core drilling is required, and, it's not listed as a subheading underneath the line that I read to you.
Right.
I don't know how anyone would read that as a further explanation.
And even under the word demolition, you're gonna demo the new sanitary sewer plumbing for accommodation of new plans?
Yeah.
Demo new sanitary? It's just kinda weird like that. You guys wrote this.
Yeah.
It says demolition here, down there it says new.
Underneath the restrooms of 1st and 3rd floor. It's underneath the restrooms of 1st and 3rd floor.
Right, but
It's
it's just, but it's just saying we're gonna demo it. This is the demolition plan, right?
right.
So you're gonna demolition the new sewer.
Well, yeah.
See what I'm saying?
There was
Yeah.
probably a time.
You guys wrote it.
Yeah.
But you guys wrote it. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, we're not gonna demo the new sewer, just so everybody's
Oh.
clear.
But you're gonna demo, this says you're gonna demo the existing sewer for accommodation of the new plumbing plan.
Yeah, underneath the 1st and 3rd floor restrooms,
I
and
think if you
that's,
get
and
the
that's
plans
our.
to these
Outside
guys,
sewer piping.
and they can sit with it, you read the contract now, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
If they have those plans,
Right.
and they can look together, it's
Right.
very eye opening. All you have here is a communication.
I agree, and I think in having the direct communication is gonna be a big help.
Get them those plans, make them feel like they know everything, and they'll come.
That'd be more helpful if we have an actual copy of the plan.
Yeah,
We don't have that here.
okay.
And your invoices to match.
Yeah. And like I said, and you're getting those notes down, right, Josiah? Okay, thank you.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, so, if you guys get me over those list of questions, and we will get you, this answer, we will also work on, again, giving it to you an option. If we need to have another meeting, my suggestion is like, let's try to get this on schedule as fast as possible, and that way we can clear up any further discrepancies and move forward and have decisions made to where we move forward.
I feel like we're not gonna change the scope of work in any way.
I would ask for your consideration, because it is work that we've done, like on the 5,800 and on the 10,300. If you want to have further discussions on the others, but on those are temporary facilities that we were asked to do that
wasn't in the scope.
that according to our point of contact was signed off on, and so that was nowhere even in our contract. So I would ask.
Which one are you talking about? I'm sorry.
The first two.
The money's for the,
Extension?
the extension building.
Yeah.
Extension building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing in
Is
the
that all
scope.
that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would ask that,
The 5,810 and the 10,300.
Right.
He's omitting the 26.5. for
But-
further
but-
discussion.
the
But right now, I
26.5,
said
we
these
could-
two, there's no contention about whether they're in scope or not. So those are change orders that they thought Mel had authority to sign.
Well,
So if you
and
could
I
make
agree,
those
it was added
right.
on, it was extra cost.
Yeah.
And there was no work ever in the scope about the extension building.
No,
No, that was,
No.
I agree, that was additional.
but nobody developed the cost with you either,
Oh.
so there's no customer input on
Which is
any of
saved
that.
money right here on the one underneath Highway 5.
We just take your word for
They're
the
gonna
amount.
get you that figure.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
Well, we provided,
Send that to
our
you.
proposal, and then it was.
You know, and maybe what would be helpful is if, questions we send you guys, most of it has to do with our understanding versus your understanding of the language.
Mhm.
Maybe when we get you guys these questions, maybe you could provide us what your understanding is of each of these phrases or each of these subjects. Because that's where we differ.
Yeah, I would, yes, please submit that in written form, please, because it makes it a lot easier for us to digest, look at, and then we can come up with the proper response.
Right, okay, okay. So can we meet again Tuesday, this coming Tuesday?
I have to get with the members of the team, I'm just hearing about this. My goal would be sometime next week. Let me see what their schedule and their commitments are, and then we'll be in communication with you.
Sounds like it work for you, Jim? Okay, all right, sounds good.
Did you guys ever get like an itemized, how much everything's gonna cost?
Just, the only one I got was the one on this building.
It's not itemized.
It's not itemized, but I got a cost breakdown on exterior, interior, which I don't believe we have that on anything else over there.
That still needs to be
Everything is lump
itemized,
sum.
though.
Everything is
You
lump
can't just
sum.
put a lump sum on something.
Well, we signed a
Well, I think
contract that
that's fine, I
says
mean,
they
they
can-
are,
Jim
Here's
might have it.
4.9 million, here's your lump sum. Well, how did you arrive at that figure? Well, here's our figure.
it is kinda
How
hard to
did you arrive at that
extrapolate.
figure?
It's 4.7.
Well, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
It's
That-
gonna cost
that
4.9
should-
by the time.
that's
more.
a, that's a
No, it's
contract
gonna cost over
negotiation.
Yeah, well, I know with interest.
They
but-
got
yeah.
bypass.
But I would like to see an itemized, how you guys came up with the 4.7 myself.
That'd be good.
I agree.
Can that happen? I didn't think so.
So how can it not? How can you arrive at a $4.7 million price tag and not tell us?
Again,
What makes up that
again,
price
some of
tag?
these conversations probably need to be had with other personnel here, and we can look at scheduling that meeting and look to answer your questions.
That's better
So
than a
it's
no.
proprietary.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we got proprietary information, there's competitive, information, and so that all goes into it,
I understand
again,
that. I understand that.
We can't fix those mistakes. We gotta find the best way to move forward
Just say, hands on.
for everybody.
thank you.
Anybody else got a question?
Mine's fairly minor, I'm over at the Justice Center.
Yes.
They've never changed any of the light bulbs in any of the four courtrooms. Are they not gonna do that?
We were
now?
trying to get in contact with somebody. I believe Mel was trying to get in contact with, I believe
I'm the
you.
guy that runs it.
I
And
know.
I talked
So-
to the electrician guy about 2
Yeah.
months ago, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, so he was trying to get in tomorrow, is what he was trying to do.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize a couple months.
The jail pods to fix the
No,
switch.
not the jail, the Justice Center.
Yes. And then the courthouse lighting was supposed to be,
Yeah, courthouse is this, Justice Center, semantics, mine's the Justice Center.
yes.
And there's 4 courtrooms, they've never changed any of the 4
Yes,
lights.
he was
And
gonna.
a few other ones, they had the wrong size.
Yes, they had the wrong bulbs, and he was gonna, that's due on Saturday, so he was gonna
Right,
try to schedule
I paid
that.
a guy overtime, 10 hours of work Saturday, found that they didn't
So-
do that.
The maintenance crew was going to try to work it out with whoever could be overtime as well for this weekend possibly.
This weekend. oh,
Yes,
that's all
I'm
I
not
need.
really sure though.
Yeah, I need
I will
notice
get
then.
back
I
with
gotta
you
have the
today.
deputy there on the road.
Yes,
Okay.
and let me get back with you, let me talk with the maintenance and make sure all this.
I haven't heard anything in 2 months, so
Dave, why don't you and Jason, do you guys have each other's contact info?
who's the guy I talked to electric? Wasn't he?
That was Jason too.
But
yes.
yeah, different.
So-
Yeah.
Communicate directly.
There was two guys, it was Scotty
Don't
and
go
then
through
Jason.
Mel,
Scotty.
go to
Yes,
Dave,
Scott,
back to
so
Jason.
Scotty's looking at a different one, but Jason's on the side. I will go talk to him and see, and we can get.
I'm just a
get with
real
him.
minor, but still, it's an issue that I want
It
to
is, and
resolve.
at the last I knew, the bulbs were getting changed, and I believe they're here now.
Anything else?
Not at this time.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Look at the mess we made.
Appreciate the time.
So have you guys found any bones or anything in the walls?
Thanks for coming in,
No
bodies?
Any ghosts floating around?
Those cops don't wanna talk about that. What do you guys know? No, thanks guys. I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff in the walls.
Greg Hasty, James Belhaven.
Here.
Don Williams.
Here. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have you looked at the minutes?
Yeah, I will move to approve the minutes.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Real quick, just, we're gonna have, if anybody wants to say anything, to either of these items on the agenda, we'll open that up.